Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder 2 Duck Talks number 65. And this very video is my 1000th video that you're currently watching or listening to. And I also recently got 20,000 subscribers. So this is one of the points that I want to talk about in conjunction with the current growth of my YouTube channel, just so for you to get a little bit of the greater picture what's going on, because maybe it's interesting to see it from my perspective. Then I also wanted to go on to talk about last Duck Talk and to talk a little bit about the feedback, the aftermath, if you will, from the Let's Fix War Thunder attempt and my experience. Then I also want to talk about the new patch so far, my experiences, a little bit of the criticism, the good parts, and then obviously I want to round it up with a little bit of a fishing story, because it seems like you guys really like it, and so I don't want to keep this from you, since it is also my nephew winning a prize in a competition fishing, which is very, very nice indeed, especially if you hear about how one of the fish got caught, because yeah, weird animals. And obviously at the very end of the video I have the questions parts for you. So let's go right into it, and let's begin with the 1000 videos. So 6 years ago, you might want to know, I began to play War Thunder, and the game was very different back then. No big surprise, huh? And I never would have thought that I would start a YouTube channel at all, and that I even would make up to 1,000 of them, at least so far. I also thought of YouTubers having 20,000 subscribers when I then finally began to make YouTube videos as being, you know, outstanding personalities, and now once I reach them myself, well, they're just average dudes, right? So there is a lot of normalization in your behavior when you go on YouTube and you start to make your very first YouTube videos yourself, and you get into the rhythm, you get experience how to make them better bit by bit. And obviously it is the kind of YouTube videos that you make that define your channel, that also define your online character, if you will, that define on what subscribers expect from you. So also I could say with confidence that I could become that I could have become a much bigger YouTuber in terms of sheer subscriber number, but I always stick to my own principles and just made the videos that I felt like most of the time. And yeah, 99% is War Thunder, the rest is a little bit of World of Warships, Subnautica, and recently also some fishing videos. So I think the most difficult part about becoming a YouTuber is the start, and then you make one video after the other when you feel like it, then you make your own schedule, or you just upload as much as possible. It depends if you make funny montages, or if you make just post commentary like I do, if you make reviews or some other style of YouTube video. It depends on your personal favor, what you really like. For me, it started when some of the other YouTubers like Jingles, they tuned down the amount of War Thunder video that they made, and so I was like, well, I want to make some reviews myself. And the very first reviews that I made, they were terrible. The very first videos overall were terrible. I improved in the hardware, in the software, and also in the fluidity of English speaking. There you have a good example right there. My English is perfect by now. Not so. Yeah, it is also how you speak to the microphone, to how you set up your kind of argumentation, and obviously having a little bit of experience in War Thunder also helps. And yeah, when you get the first few videos out there, then the worst thing is already done, or the most difficult part, if you will. And so I recommend, if you have an NVIDIA GeForce graphic cards, or a graphic card from NVIDIA, you have Shadowplay, and I recommend this. This is what I still use myself. It is easy to set up, it doesn't really put too much stress on the software or the hardware in general. The video sizes are reasonable, and it is nice to edit with them. The quality is good, so I still use them. They might have some drawbacks, but to be honest, that's just how I do it. I'm too lazy to get another program working. And why change a winning team, right? And that also brings me to Sony Vegas Pro. There's currently a sale going on on Humble Bundle for, I guess, $25. You get the complete version, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is something that I actually recommend, and I bought another version for myself. So this is how I use it, and it is a powerful program, and it is also pretty simple and reliable, and so I recommend this as well. So this is how I do my YouTube videos. Again, the most difficult part is to start with it, and again, in retrospect, 1,000 videos making daily content isn't all that easy, especially if you have a hard job, if you have family, etc. But I was in a very fortunate situation to have some days off, and then to make multiple videos in a day and release them day by day. So mass producing videos on one day and then just not really doing anything on the other day is just how I kept recently my YouTube videos up. And to have interest in the game also helps out to catch people's attention to, hey, look, this guy is really interested in making this work. He tries to get good, he tries to make a good gameplay, and there are people out there that want to help you at the start if you're a promising YouTuber. And so again, to start at all is the most difficult part. The rest comes along with time. That's just how it is. And if you're willing to improve, then the people feel it, and you get more and more subscribers. And the bigger you get, the more subscribers you get as well. And that brings me to now the next step. And it happened when I reached 20,000 subscribers, and I made the ME264 video in conjunction with the interest of the subscribers and overall viewership on YouTube that is interested in War Thunder. My growth has spiked, and so in the last few days I gained on one day, starting with quote unquote only 28 subs. Then the next day, it was Saturday, 91, then 97 on Sunday, on Monday plus 86, and today on Tuesday it's already 43 subscribers, and the day is only halfway done. So that is amazing. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys, especially the older subscribers, for staying with me for so long throughout my rants and my not so well done videos, but also throughout the ship content videos, because this is where I probably could have gained many more subscribers, would have gained many more views, but I frankly didn't care because I was interested in ships, and I think that you guys really saw this as well. So much for that. And that now brings us to the next topic, which is Let's Fix War Thunder, Duck Talks number 64, the topic. And let's just briefly talk about this, shall we? So in that video I said, look guys, there are many problems within War Thunder. I am myself on the forefront of ranting, but it's better to make a very well done, well documented bug report to make Gaijin aware of this issue instead, which takes like roughly 10 minutes instead of ranting for half an hour on the forums. And well, there was a little bit of negativity in the comment section towards Gaijin, and I absolutely agree that the system is faulty, that a lot of the issues that we see on the live server shouldn't be the case, but that's just how Gaijin does their thing for years. And I think to work here with the system when it comes to Gaijin is more effective than ranting on the forums and working against the system, because at the end it is your own experience that suffers. I give you an example. I made some bug reports myself, and I raised the issue on look, on this map there is a hidden faulty hitbox. Look, this is not performing as well according to the statistics, or this is not right, and some of the stuff got fixed. And very often people are not aware about the fixed stuff rather than the issues that still exist, but then they make no bug reports. Again, please do proper bug reports, including the C-log data, including the replay, including the server replay. Maybe make a very short video and add also the link to this. Maybe add some screenshots and with a proper description of what's going on. And if you have suggestions on the forums, also please please do them properly and not just, oh, gotcha, this sucks, fix it, because that doesn't really help. At the end, the technical moderators, the devs themselves, they have to replicate the issue, and they have then to find out what causes it. Only after that they can really go on trying to fix it. And in finding the issue and replicating them, or just to trying to redo the issue, the bug, whatever, you can help them big time, and that just shortens the time down. So I tried to do my best with the bug reporting, and it was a pleasure to find out that actually then the things were worked on. And that has nothing to do primarily with the fact that I am a long-term player or that I am a YouTuber. This was done in such a way like everybody else could do it practically. And that has to do with that I brought in the replays, a proper description, etc., and then the issues are gone. This is a potential solution, in my opinion, for more than half of the issues when it comes to hitboxes, when it comes to bugs, to game mechanics not working, etc., etc. Yes, Gaijin should kind of improve their quality control, make an end quality control on the live server as well. But again, we have 7 nations, we have 4 different vehicle classes, from ships, plane, tanks and helicopters, through 7 nations, overall 1,300, even more than those. So from battle rating 1 to 10 in 4 different game modes by now. So something can go wrong, some mistakes are obvious, but sometimes it just happens with this huge project, and I want you to support Gaijin with proper bug reports and proper suggestions. Lay aside your negative thoughts and just do it, and stop ranting on the forums before you have not made a bug report. After that, you're free to rant as much as you can. And yeah, I am again myself on the forefront of ranting, but also in the background I do my best to help Gaijin, and it is also very nice to see some progress. So there are good sides and bad sides, and if even a small percentage of my subscribers goes out there and makes bug reports, that is a massive improvement. And I have received feedback from Gaijin that they are really now able to improve the game more significantly thanks to the increased amount of feedback that they got, proper feedback. So much for this topic. So now let's have a little bit of a first impressions of the patch after probably a week or so of it being live. Let's begin with tanks, and I have not really played too many tanks, especially the top tier tanks that are kind of, yeah. I mean, I made a tank review on the new French MX-30 Super, and this is very well received by you guys, but it's just a standardish tank. Sorry, I couldn't resist the pun again, but honestly, that's just how it is, and I don't think this to change anytime soon. But I will continue to do this. Then let's talk about planes, and yes, planes. So I have not had a look at the new jets, but specifically I want to talk about the ME264 video, and again I have given now feedback to Gaijin. Let's see what they will do about it. But honestly, oof, that plane, man, that plane. I like bombers, I like German planes, and I want German planes to be good. Some might call it already being a wearable, but that's not the case, because I also criticized negative performing or not so good performing planes in other nations. I want to have balance everywhere, and again, it is a bomber destroying balance outright in easy mode. And I have played this plane myself, and I also think that Gaijin tries to balance it with repair costs of 53,000 silver lines at battle rating 3.7, which is just outrageous. So I absolutely agree here with the criticism, and I hope that Gaijin fixes it sooner than later. That actually now brings us to the ships. And yeah, ships are like the heavy cruisers, but I don't think that they are already able to stack up to the competition of Brooklyn and Kirov, which are simply still superior, especially at either very long range, Kirov, with the semi-armor piercing, and also the HE, or just simply at short range with the Brooklyn and the DPM, etc. But also the destroyers, the long lances, are really great in my opinion. They are a bit game breaking, I agree, but not on every map, not every single game mode, but they are still very nice to use indeed. And I think I've never made that many top kills in one nation like in the last few days. It's absolutely glorious. So ships, they are only overshadowed by the PGO2. Like at that battle rating, a Gatling gun with a PDS on a hydrofoil? Oof. That's just one of those things where all your efforts seem to get washed away and you're just face palming so hard at home in front of the PC, like, what the hell, Gaijin? Like, that should have never happened. Partially it's my fault because I couldn't give them feedback in time because I was not able to get on the dev server. But hey, it's at the end of the day just a hobby for me. I try my best, but this is something where everybody should have gotten out of their way to get feedback at Gaijin. Look, this is not right. Don't implement it like this on the live server. We need a higher battle rating, and this shouldn't be a premium in the first place. But overall, not at that battle rating like on the dev server. Yes, I know the dev server is not final, but we all should also make in our feedback clear that what we see on the dev server is not right. In particular, when it comes to a potential game-breaking thing. Let's continue with the game-breaking thing. So that was another feedback so far about the patch. I still have to play more, but now let's come to the fishing story, and it was very interesting. So I have now established the paperwork with the other fishing club, and our first fishing was on Thursday, and it was already pretty cool. As early as 5 o'clock we went to the lakes, and my cousin, 8 years old, was already awake, like he really wanted to go to fish. And yeah, it was a pretty nice day and successful, but the glorious day came on Sunday, so 2 days ago, as I'm recording this video on the day after Monday. Yeah, that's 2 days after. Yeah, okay, Sunday. And I was as early up as 5 o'clock in the morning, and that was then enough time to pack all the things together. We went to the lake again. It was again a competition, a normal competition, nothing really serious, but just a few guys sitting on a lake and trying to catch some fish. Indeed, we caught some fish, but I also lost some fish in the grass, if you know what I mean. So it was not a case of the equipment not being strong enough, but rather than the fish going to a place where I couldn't really get them out of the water in time before they spewed out the hook. So at the end, we caught also a pike with maggots on the ground, where the pike managed to hook himself on the tail fin. Don't ask, I don't know either, but actually that one counted, and I said that it was my nephew catching it together with a few small peaches that he caught. And so he actually won a prize, 9th prize. And when he actually had the choice to what to pick in terms of equipment, you know, the normal prices, he took a wobbler, but not any wobbler, like the biggest wobbler that I have seen on this planet, where I don't have the fishing rod to catch something with it, and I think I would catch more fish by just slamming it, this massive wobbler, on their heads. That's just, so that was glorious. And I already bought a GoPro camera. I tried to get some more footage out there, but I still need to catch some fish before that. And this weekend I don't seem to have all that much time, because, well, again, a lot of barbecues going on with my girlfriend and friends, and also my mother has a party going on. I need to be there as well. So on this weekend, I don't know if I have too much time to go to fish, but I'm still working on, as I promised. And that's already it with this overall topics for this Duck Talks. And now I want to answer some questions. Question 1 comes from Ensoto G. Napalm, first of all, greetings from Argentina. You were talking about making videos about fishing, but how's your back? Are you sure that it won't happen again? Is it sure for you? Yes, my back is now fine. I made some exercises. I recovered actually pretty fast, and as you can hear, I am on it. I bought also a GoPro camera, so I hope that I can make some fishing videos, but first of all I need to catch stuff to show for, you know. Next question comes from Lucas West, and he basically asks a question about APCs and how they are used in real life, and if we could apply this into War Thunder, so with those armored personnel carriers such as the Bradley or BMP, that they could deploy infantry. Well, the problem is here that infantry is not allowed within War Thunder due to the age restriction, as far as I know, and it would make things even more complicated. But it's a nice idea, I give you that. So Aobos asks a question, and yeah, it is pretty. It's actually multiple questions. Not quite sure how to answer them. Why Gaijin is not giving us the Panzer II looks? Maybe they'll in the future. Then after 5 years, we still face T-55 AMs in a mouse. Well, that's just Gaijin balance for you. And why Germany doesn't receive post-war bombers, so they stop using Arados in 10.0 matches. Well, you better know what you wish for, because yeah, you know, new post-war bomber means more problems in tank RB and RRB for everybody. Then a pair of very interesting questions from Kenny Lynn. First question, how did you manage to get a girlfriend? Any guide, please? I really need professional help. Second question, which tank is funnier, T14, T34, 747, SMK or something else? Well, let's begin with the latter question because it's more difficult to answer, yet I can answer it quicker. It depends on which nation you want to play. It depends if you want to have fun in it or just grind with it. If it is a premium tank you desire, you can always make a test drive to see how it performs. You always can ask your clanmates or just some friends that you happen to play with what they recommend. It is down to your personal preference, and if I prefer a tank, that doesn't mean that you like it at all, especially if you pay real money for it. Now back to question number 1. How did you manage to get a girlfriend? Any guide, please? I really need professional help. So yes, I actually hopefully can help you a little bit. First thing is be self-confident. Don't be an asshole. But the thing is, a lot of assholes very often have self-confidence, and a lot of people, including girls, mix that up. If you are yourself, if you're self-confident, you just are attracting women more than being like a helpless, shy guy. That's just how it is. And the second most important thing is that you need to go out in the first place with your friends to birthday parties, to regular parties, into clubs, whatever. Because if you sit only in front of the PC, there is the very slim chance that a beautiful girl is knocking on your door and you let her in and she says, I love you. That's just a very, very slim chance. Let's just say that has not happened to me so far. And yeah, I actually had just a very nice conversation with my future girlfriend on one of the Christmas parties, and this is where I met her for the first time. And so we exchanged telephone numbers like 2 hours later, and so we just met each other more and more, and this is how it developed itself. And I think it's not big magic, you know, and I think you just have to get this out of your mind. It's just like with YouTube, you know, the very most difficult parts are to actually get started, you know, and I think it's just within human beings to learn each other, to come together. That's just how it worked. If not for that being actually something that works out with the years, we all wouldn't be here. That's just how it is. Oh my god, that just sounds so philosophical. I'm really getting old. Ugh. Tabane asks then a question about the World War mode and practically what I think about it, and that he has a lot of issues. Yes, World War mode has a lot of issues, and I hope that finally Gaijin comes around to improve this. But it also depends on the fact that not a lot of people are playing it, but that is then a result of the game mode not being all that great, and then Gaijin with its very strange advertisement policy, it was like from one day to the other that World War mode was suddenly here, and it was also not working out all that great. I saw the concept, made a video about it, but in principle it could have been made much better. Well, then Tony Mike asks a question about overhead flares to illuminate the battlefield. What I think about this idea? Well, I think that would be a nice option, but I can see multiple ways of it being abused to blind the enemy, to just spam that stuff. And I enjoy the game more in the state that it is right now than with that being added, although it being a nice idea. So then Just Hans asks, question, why did you ever pay €1 to Gaijin? Well, that goes back to years and years ago when I started playing War Thunder, which is 6 years ago. And back then the game was awesome, the progress was there, but I wanted just more. It was not born of frustration, it was born of the desire to get more of this awesome game and to just progress quicker and to just pile up the silver lines, etc, etc. So this is where it all started when I happily paid Gaijin, and this is what I want to go back to a game that is fun, and then I would pay a lot of money to see this. And this is where I think that Gaijin loses a lot of money with the current way that they are going. They could earn more and we could have a better game experience. That is what I am convinced with. Monkey Business asks, why did Gaijin choose optic guided SAM? Because there is no counter to it. Flares on Heelys are useless against them, and they keep going in that direction with all the new SAM coming in 1.89. There is plenty of fire and forget SAMs that can be jammed and bring a circle of balance. Well, that is a typical high tier modern stuff problem, so I'm probably the wrong guy to ask, but I also am not really interested in this because top tier is full of weapon systems that have no counter, and I think that SAMs are not the greatest problem. The one thing that I have to say is the current status of top tier tanks is a little bit better thanks to the removal of helicopters, because they had barely any counter, especially at the beginning of the game, and with up to 1680 gems, well, I don't really feel sorry for them. Let's just point that out. So I'm sorry, but yeah, SAMs that are just their own topic. Mateus Dade asks, do you think we should have a mediator between players and Gaijin? Standard answering your questions is just a shitty form of mediation, and on forums also Gaijin employees can't help in terms of changing the game. I mean, that guy or guys that could really give Gaijin players problems directly, and so Gaijin could directly answer to what we really rant about. Well, I think exactly that point is what I made in the beginning with the bug reports. Make your bug reports. That helps a lot. And make your suggestions on the forums. Make them properly, and then there is no excuse for Gaijin to overlook this. Another question comes from the Red Thrasher. Do you think Gaijin should add more variants of the Leopard A1 in the game? 8.7 is a really great battle rating, and I think it is more balanced but Germany needs more tanks. Leo A1 and our TAM are great tanks, but sometimes you need more. Leo A1, A3 and A4 could be a really great addition to the game. Greetings from Argentina and keep the good work up. So thank you for that commentary. 8.7 is a battle rating where Germany is indeed really strong, and other nations are also having some tanks to offer. If not for premiums, then especially a lot of tech tree tanks. So I see why this is more balanced, because everybody basically has the same weapons. That's just how it is. Just look at my tank review on the MX-30 Super and the stat comparison. It's just all the same, you know. Even the ammunition is largely the same. So I think that new tanks could be added, but if they would really bring some good things to the game, I don't know. And Royalty Core asks, do you think the Leclerc will be good for the French tech tree and for the game as a whole? Well, I still have to try out the Leclerc, or Leclerc, however you pronounce it, and then we'll see. But so far it seems to be a very strong tank. I am curious and I'm interested to figure it out. Jason Wilt, question: Napalm, would markerless RBEC with player tanks and possibly player ships spawn points added to the ground shuffles be better than World War MS? Well, I think the basic principle of World War mode is really great, but just the first iteration is absolutely tragic, and I don't think that Gaijin introducing markerless realistic battle enduring confrontation from the scratch would also be a perfect mode. Think about all the possibilities how Gaijin could mess that one up. Second question, Napalm, do you want to see some or all of the individual missions from World War mode added to the normal matchmaker for ground forces realistic battles? Well, I think we need some more game modes. That's the basic thing that I actually think about for quite a long time. And yes, some of the ideas are great, but again, badly executed. Third question, Napalm, do you want to see spawn cost of planes reduced in 7.7 plus now that radar, SPAG and SAMs exist? I mainly enjoy flying anti-CAS in ground RB, but with outrageous spawn cost on planes, it takes too long to spawn and planes, and in most cases there's nobody else up to go kill. I hate planes in tank RB. I don't care. Sorry, but again, I'm the wrong guy to ask this kind of question. 10APTX4369 asked what I think about the Chieftain Mark I as a potential British premium. Well, I'm not really convinced about this. I mean, play the Chieftain Mark X and then ask yourself if you wanna really play this for dozens if not hundreds of games within War Thunder with the current meta, with this tank's performance, and if you wanna play money for this, ask yourself this question, and then the answer you can come up with answers your own initial question. Because I don't really think that the Chieftain is a bad tank, but it's not really doing all that well within War Thunder. Again, depends on the matchmaker, depends on the battle rating compression, depends on the game modes that we have. Subterraneo asks if I believe that Gaijin is adding new nations to the game. Well, the last information that I have is that they are currently not really planning on doing so, but it is not something that I would exclude, but it just will take some more time to, you know, get the research done, to do the vehicles and then introduce this nation. I think there are some bigger tech trees planned, like international tech tree, something like this, and this is certainly something that I'd be interested in. So much for that. I hope that answers that question. Nope, Battle Eye asked the question if I think there is a reason to remake the Matchmaker. Well, let's just say that the Matchmaker in War Thunder per se is not the worst thing that there is. Yes, it has some flaws, those flaws have to be fixed, and either we get a massive decompression patch throughout ships, planes, tanks and helicopters, or the battle rating spread should be reduced to 0.7, and yes, some vehicles should be replaced in terms of their battle rating. So I hope I could answer that question. Buster Murray asked, what do you think about having different battle ratings for planes in tank RB? Well, it depends on the planes, and then we need to undo some of the nerfing. Think about the Horton in War Thunder with the MK103 being drastically nerfed, both with the belt selection but also the accuracy. I think that tooth got pulled really quickly. So much for that. I see where you're coming from, that planes perform differently in tank RB than in air RB, but in general I would say that is not a major problem right at the moment, and to rebalance that and then to have the balance between air RB and tank RB, it might actually produce more problems than it solves. Alexander Borkhoff asked the question, what do you think about to be able to choose the map you play instead of the old random battles? Well, that is a huge question, and in World of Tanks there is the possibility to exclude one map from the rotation, and that is a principle that I would love. So, for example, from high tier to exclude either Karelia or, more importantly, Italy would be awesome. The problem with this is that a lot of people would exclude certain maps and then those maps overall get depopulated, and then the matchmaker needs some more time to find a match for this map. So it would create a lot of issues, and maybe players would only love to play one specific map. And then there's also the question of how you do that then in conjunction with your squadron, if you play in a squad, etc. So I don't know, and sometimes you need to learn how to play a certain different map. For example, in a light tank, probably it's not the best to go straight to the middle of the map, maybe to flank, and maybe you try out different paths on certain maps. So some of the maps that I previously hated I now absolutely love, and the other way around. So that is another thought that you should think about. And in fact, that is, according to my comment section, the last question being answered. So again, thank you for asking so many questions. It is a pleasure to answer them. Again, if you have a question, hashtag question in the comment section. This is how you begin your comment, and then I will answer that question in the next Dark Talks. Up until then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more. Don't forget to ask a question if you have one, and we'll see each other in the skies, on the battlefields, and on the waves of War Thunder.